Welcome to your money questions video for this week. This week, I'm tackling the big story, which is load shedding and whether or not you should finance a solar system on your property. Now, I actually wrote a newsletter about this last week, and I had such a huge reaction to it. And some people were like, fantastic, thanks for the information. Others were, how dare you suggest that we borrow money to put in a solar system? So I think my starting point is this simple. To what extent is this impacting on your life? I have a home office. A year ago, this became a want, not a want, a necessity. I absolutely had to have something to keep my office going more than my UPS. My UPS has died by then. For example, today I have load shedding from 10 to 12:30 and again from 4 till 8 p.m. There is no way your little UPS system is going to keep you going. I can't be sitting doing my interviews. I can't be doing my meetings. I can't be delivering to my clients. It is, a long time ago, a luxury. It is now basically a necessity for me to earn an income. And I think that's very true for many, many people. But over and above that, even if you don't work from home, it is becoming such a psychological impact. Somebody said they're suffering from load shedding anxiety. And the reality is that there's no end in sight. We've seen it. Eskom is in collapse. So do we go and take the plunge? I've done a lot of research on this. I'll put a link in for the story that I did on this a few years ago, but the figures are fairly accurate, still up to date. The starting point is your inverter battery system. And there you're kind of looking at about 60,000 Rand for a proper system. Do not go cheap. Do not go for lead batteries. They will, the feedback that I'm getting from people who put those lead batteries in a year or two ago, they've died. If you go for a system that's too small, so the experts are saying at least have a 5 kilowatt system, a battery system. If you're going for like 3 kilowatts, which is cheaper, you're often blowing it because you accidentally put on something, maybe your hairdryer, for example, could actually blow that system. Whereas a 5 kilowatt system, that's been doing very well for us. We can, certainly during the evenings, we can have some lights on. We can, we can even sometimes boil a kettle, but only actually I can boil my kettle if I switch all the lights off. So it is a bit of an either or, but really you don't notice load shedding. We don't notice it at all, except that our oven will not work. And obviously we can't run our microwave or any major heating appliance on it. But otherwise our household runs pretty efficiently on a 5 kilowatt battery inverter system. And that, as I said, is costing you probably around 60,000 Rand. The next step then, which is what we actually are busy doing at the moment, in fact, we paid for it a couple of months ago and still waiting for the panels to arrive, is putting in the solar. Those actual solar panels. So we're getting an eight panels in. That's costing us about another 60,000 Rand to put the panels in. For us, that is partly because the load shedding is becoming so much more frequent now that we're worried that our batteries will not have time to recharge between load shedding incidences. But also it starts to help you pay back a little bit for the capital because, of course, once you put the solar in, your electricity costs reduce. In total, if you look at the whole package, by the time you pay, by the way, an engineer to make sure it's compliant, you pay your electrician, etc., you're probably looking for the whole package around 140,000 Rand. So where do you find the money? This is where it gets perhaps a little bit debatable. Of course, if you've got 140,000 Rand sitting around in your bank account, good luck, you can use that. But do you finance it? So the banks have all, I've contacted all the banks and all of them offer an extension on your home loan. So you could go, if you have extra money in your home loan, obviously you could access that. Otherwise, they will do a re-advance on your home loan for no extra cost. You don't have to relodge a mortgage or anything like that. They will actually give that to you. So you can effectively finance this through Prime, if that's your interest rate or your mortgage interest rate. So I ran a few numbers on that. At the current interest rate, if you've got it at Prime, which is 8.25, you're going to be paying about 900 Rand a month in interest, just the interest amount. If you're trying to repay back the system within 10 years, which is really what you should be aiming for, not 20 years, over the next 10 years, you'll be paying back about 1,700 Rand a month. So look at the electricity offset. It's going to be interesting. I will definitely update you once our panels are in to see how much that affected our electricity bill. Probably not as much as other people because we already have a solar geyser in, so we don't have our electricity bills already relatively low. You also do need to spend money putting in your LEDs and all your other electrical efficient systems into your home, because your battery will just last that much longer. You won't need as much load as well on your system. So we already have our LEDs in place. We already have our solar geyser. So we'll see what that big electricity saving is. But I'm pretty certain it's going to be at least R1,000 of saving on electricity. So this is the place we're in. You've got to sit down, you've got to run the numbers, speak to your bank, and you've got to make a decision. This is a decision each household has to make for themselves. And as I said, if it forms part of your income, it actually has become a no-brainer. But for many people who they're just saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore. It's psychologically damaging us, our families. It's a big impact. Is this something that we should really be investigating? And I think, we also almost need to look at it like a car. It's now become just something that we need as part of our daily lives and to actually be able to function. That's my view. I would love to get your comments and your feedback. Many of you have been sharing with me, some people, there are companies that are even doing solar rental systems that I will be looking into and writing about. But I think this is the brave new world we're in. We've got to figure this out and find the best options of being able to do this without putting ourselves under even more financial pressure. So please, if you want to keep up with all of these topics, remember to subscribe both to the YouTube link below and also to my newsletter.